Hey guys, Life22 down here at Quinn's Wake. It's a busy day down here. Just kidding. No, we just came in. I got my guest today is soon to be or sitting legislator.
No.
Sitting legislator, county legislator Matthew Peterson Volts, also known as MPV or MVP.
It's, MPV, yeah.
MPV. Okay.
What's going on, guys?
Matthew Papillonavirus.
Yeah, sure.
Not most valuable man.
Sure.
Yeah, so what, you're running for?
County legislator.
County legislator?
In District 8, yep.
In District 8,
Yep.
and that's here in the city of Olean?
Yep, City of Olean, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You don't sound too enthused.
Yeah.
You're a young guy, new to politics.
It was kind of an afterthought, obviously, so I'm not really, throwing myself into it, 100%. There's kind of other things I'd like to accomplish first, but like I said, it was kind of an afterthought. So
Hey, if you win, you win, right?
It's not going to happen, but
Right.
we'll
Well,
see.
at least you're realistic.
Right.
Hey, put your hat in the ring.
No
People
point in
actually get your
throwing
name out there.
full resources into something I wasn't gonna. I guess
Yeah, no. If it's a 50-50 and you're really passionate about it, I can see.
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
mayoral race in the city of Olean,
Right.
you got to put in I think you have to have at least $5,000
Yeah.
in your war chest,
Yeah.
just to go after it. Between advertising and the signs and you're gonna make signs up. And what's the next political aspiration for you? If it's not District 8 county legislator, then then you've got a bunch of signs you're not going to use.
Right. 2021. Hopefully, I'd like to run for alderman in Ward 2. That's kind of like the goal after this. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
There you go.
So, yeah.
So yeah, what do you want to talk about, buddy?
Whatever. I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay.
Anything.
So your candidacy is for the Libertarian Party.
Yep.
So what do you? What's your thoughts on the Libertarian Party? You got you're bigging with them, right? What are your committeemen?
I'm vice chairman.
Vice chairman of the
county
local,
party. Yep,
the county
party.
Cat County.
Yep, Cat County. Basically, I switched over from Democrat.
Well, that's a good call.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I think after some hard realizations, I don't want to say on how the real world works, but to some degree, I just kind of realized it made more sense, and that's kind of where I fit on the political spectrum a lot more.
Okay. Yeah. You got a lot of Looney Tunes over there. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's like the Tea Party. They were all
it's
good thoughts, road to the road to the good place. But then, the problem is you got a lot of
people with good ideas. But as one of my good friends put it recently, I think the problem with the Libertarian Party right now is ego, right? So everyone just kind of
they're all hungry wolves
yeah,
trying to
exactly.
become
It's all
leader
power.
of the pack.
It's all power hungry. Everyone's power hungry, and everyone's trying to climb to the top of the ladder, and they don't really care who they push off or who they trip, to try to get there. And I guess what they don't realize is that when they do that, it doesn't just hurt other people; it hurts the whole party.
Right.
So
it's kind of like the established parties. The established parties have that, but it's a slow takeover, changing of the guard, like that. Like you got to strategically plan it. Versus this new thing. This is like being king of the hill in Facebook. Right, just fighting to the top and just saying whatever you have to say to get ahead and doing nasty things and then all of a sudden at the end of the day people are like, man, I just don't like going to Facebook anymore. It's just so angry because that's what it is. It's just a big king of the hill game.
Right. Yeah. It's
speed rounds.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I think. Like I was gonna say, the Libertarian Party's got ballot access for the first time for nearly 40 years. Which is interesting. It's great, but at the same time, it's like if we aren't going to be actively pursuing ways to ride off that momentum without kind of going at each other's throats constantly, then
being very controversial and wishy-washy.
I don't think that Larry Sharp, the 2018 gubernatorial candidate for the Libertarian Party, doing what he did, to get us ballot access, I don't think we should just kind of be, riding off the coattails of that without trying to push for further momentum.
Right.
I think like
he got you in outer space. Now you're kind of just floating there.
Right. And if we don't have something propelling us, right, I think it's just pointless. We're just gonna eventually we're gonna run out of steam, and it's just pointless. I think I've kind of mentioned this with a bunch of people. Starting at smaller races. I mean, obviously we're not gonna go out there and win a governor race first time. But starting with smaller races, trying to build it up, trying to build more registrations, and kind of getting the word out to people, like what the party's about, what it stands for, and kind of maybe helping people realize, hey, maybe that's what I am. I mean, because like I said, that's what happened to me. I was a Democrat, pretty much a lifelong Democrat, all the way up through high school, and I kind of realized, hey, that's me. So, I think if we can get out there on the ground and kind of talk to people and say, hey, like I said, this is what we stand for, this is, what we're trying to accomplish, and trying to keep it a little bit more professional, per se, I think 10, 15, 20 years from now even, I mean, it's not going to be overnight, but, down the road, I think could build some actual momentum.
Yeah, I was just saying, the local. I've seen talks with a lot of those people, and I supported Larry Sharp. It's like he is New York's the Libertarian Party of New York's like Jesus Christ. Like he really is. Like I'm not a real religious guy, but that's kind of what he is. He kind of like puts you guys on the map. He took his own business. He put himself on the cross for the Libertarian Party. And, he did a really good job because he made a mark. Like he wrote a new book. You know what I mean? Like
right. I know a lot of people kind of like to call them Larrytarians. People that moved over to the Libertarian Party simply for the sake of Larry Sharp.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of like, he's kind of
like apostles. You know what I mean?
Right. It's kind of like I can think of a couple that come to mind on Facebook specifically that like anytime Larry's mentioned, they just kind of like jump on. They're like Larry, and it's like, well, he did some great things for the party, but it's kind of obviously it's not
That's how the human mind works, though. Some people really just need an object to focus on and say that is libertarian, is this person, a figurehead almost. So and other people can see it as more of the ideology.
Sure, and I think applying what he had to say to other candidates, and saying, hey, this is what Larry said, and that's great, and I agree with that. This is what this other local candidate is saying. How does it correlate?
Right.
And say, okay, they have a lot of the same ideas.
Or somebody has an idea.
Right.
That, like, Larry says, hey, I talked to this local candidate, and he had a great idea, and I can use it here. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, pay credit where credit's due. Yeah. But at the same time, like, you don't just not run with it because it wasn't your idea. You say, no, listen, I'm in a position where I can use this idea. It makes a lot of sense to me as well, and boom.
Right.
No, I hear you.
I think, it's... Right now, it's just about maintaining professionession.
I was going to say, your professionalism, though, it's... Yours is fine. Every time I run into you, you're very, like,
I try to be.
Clean cut, not, like, saying unsavory things. And you're still a young guy, so there's a little of that goofball attitude. But,
sure.
And, messing around, because a lot of times I, talk to you or whatever, it's on Facebook.
Right.
So, like, that interaction usually is pretty tame. I think it's some of your, like, your corner candidates.
I'm not really going to comment on that. But,
okay.
Sure. I think it's, again, across the state, across the nation, I think it's trying to take, because the Libertarian Party, is all about individual freedom.
Right.
And, the ability to kind of, in a way, be who you are, right? Without any filter to some degree, although I kind of disagree with that a little bit. In politics, I think, you do need to have some sort of a filter, to what you're saying.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's how I feel. I mean, I think, obviously freedom of speech, I'm a firm believer in freedom of speech, but I think you have to pick your audience.
Yeah.
And so you have to, when you're speaking to a group of people, say like, you wouldn't speak to your grandmother the same way you speak to your group of friends.
Right.
So when you're picking an audience, say for instance, I was running for governor, right? And I know I'm going to an old folks home for whatever reason. I wouldn't speak to them the same way I'm speaking to a coffee shop full of 20-year-olds.
Right.
So I think taking that and applying that to local politics, national politics, I think it just, everyone needs to kind of just take a step back and go, hey, this is how we should be addressing certain issues to certain people. And I think that applies to social media, that applies to the ground game, that applies to just international media. I think it applies to everything.
Without stepping too far over the line.
Sure.
Like, you wouldn't just sit there and be like, yeah, I'm going to get you more Medicaid, old people. No. And then you go to the young people and be like, yeah, we're drinking age going to be 6. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just...
No,
you know,
I'm not saying like that, but I'm saying...
You treat them, you got to understand that...
You can say the same things, but the way that you...
Present yourself.
Exactly.
Have the same mass... this ball of ideas, and just shape it a little differently before you hand it off to different groups.
Absolutely.
It's still the same ball of ideas. It's just how you're presenting it, or how you. This one's an apple, and these kids like a beer bottle. You know what I mean? Slide, you know what I mean? Slide the 21-year-olds a beer bottle shape of ideas, and they're like, oh, I like that. And old people, they want their prune juice,
or they want like tapioca pudding.
Tapioca pudding bottle.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Something I was going to go with in this. Yeah, no, I've been a firm believer in that. Actually, we came across that. I've had a lot of discussions recently about that because I've always been like the same person. Right. You know what I mean? Everybody evolves, right? So like I've evolved as a person within the last 4 years easily, but like even greater than that, like the last decade. You know what I mean? So I've always been the same person, and a lot of people are just. Like at me, they get mad at me. They're like, oh, or a lot of people that come out of the woods, like, yeah, support this guy because he's local and he's himself and he's true. And because I see this more often than not, especially in politics, is that people try to censor you. Like as soon as you you want to be yourself, so you say what you say, right? Like, and then people try to censor you. You can't say that. You can't say this. You can't say that. Like, and you play this game where you try to censor yourself a little bit, and I've probably censored myself a little bit, but I'm still one of the most untamed, myself people that I come across. And there's a very few amount of them because everybody else just kind of completely goes censorship. It's all about like, well, I can't do that. I believe in this, but I can't do it because people won't like me and they won't vote for me. Yeah. Well, if you're not going to do that, then they're not voting for you. They're voting for a copy of what they think you should be. Right. And that's not who you should be. You should always be yourself. Or you're a politician. You have to hold yourself up to a higher standard. Like, and I get that to an extent, like, I'm not going to go out and take bribes. Right. That's holding myself to a higher standard. Not breaking the law. Right. You know what I mean? For things that aren't worth breaking the law for. You know what I mean?
Like, still holding on to your morals.
Right. To do a sit-in where you're not supposed to be sitting, that might break the law, but it's to an extent to prove a point and hold like a protest. Sure. Which is, one of the greatest forms of protest is to break the law and make a stand. But you know what I mean? Like, you're not doing anything. So, thanks, Donnie.
Oh, Bruce brought them up too.
Okay, thanks. Podcast interrupt us. One of these days we're going to get Donnie on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. We believe Donnie fell out of the sky in the 1970s and landed in a cornfield.
Really?
Yeah, like he's a spaceman. But he's got this like witching like Dracula power. Okay. Like he can just like walk up and just put his hand on a girl's shoulder and they just like fall in love with a 57-year-old man. Like anyway, 18 to 60. It's quite impressive. So, but regardless, all right, going back to it.
Yeah, I don't think. Obviously, like when I was talking about trying to maintain professionalism, I wasn't talking about censorship, right? I was trying to say like.
Well, I guess censorship's a naughty word. So
no, and I get what you're saying because I think censorship's
censorship does have a role in professionalism. You have to censor yourself to a degree,
but you shouldn't be censored in a way that like you aren't who you are, right?
Right. But what happens is it falls into that trap where people expect you to be censored way more than you're.
Then you want to censor yourself.
Then you're planning on, and then what happens is it's kind of like
you don't know where the
new politicians are like young boxers, not the fighter like the dog. Okay. They're very, very happy. They jump. They prance around like deer. They're very excited, and they always push the envelope on where they're gonna go. Like, oh, can I go over here? Oh, like I'm gonna pee over here.
They don't like that. So
I'm gonna pee over here, and you got to be very firm, and you got to constantly just maintain this like fence of fence of responsibility around them. I'm like, no, you can't do that. You stop pushing the damn envelope. You can't do that. Like, I've had a lot of friends with boxers, and I've always ended up having to watch them. And like, I've learned this. So like, I always relate this. Like, so you're in there, you're all gung ho, like, oh yeah, let's do this, let's do that. No, you can't just like, it's your first day on the job. You're not gonna just like throw away Medicare. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're not gonna disrupt Social Security. You're not gonna, you know what I mean? Like, it's a long process to get some of these things in place, and it's a lot. You fight fire with fire. So if something took a long time to get there, it's gonna take a long time to get rid of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you're fighting anything, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we need to just overthrow the government, and blah blah blah. Well, guess what? That's not gonna freaking happen. You're not gonna overthrow the government in one day.
And I guess that's one of the things, like, you know, like one of the main things of libertarianism is, you know, taxation. Are we going to get rid of taxes overnight? No, it's not possible.
Right.
How are you going to get rid of taxes?
Because people have this expectation, and what you have to do is you have to change their thought process and what they're expecting of the government. Like, I always expect the government. I want a firefighting crew, and they don't even have to be paid. Like, I grew up in a town in Connecticut. Like, we had firefighters that were all volunteers.
Yeah, I lived in Hinsdale as a kid, volunteer fire department.
Yeah, like these guys would do fundraisers to pay for their own ladder trucks. You know what I mean? Like, ladder trucks are expensive.
Yeah.
So like, they were doing all sorts of stuff, and you know what I mean? Like, the families, the entire community, they weren't being taxed for it, but they threw forward their, like, you know what I mean? Like, their time and effort to help support the fire department, to try to buy them ladder trucks, new hoses, new gear, you know what I mean? Trainings that they needed to go to. They were, you know what I mean? It was a beautiful thing. And, you know what I mean? You come to New York and everybody's paid, and people have a big issue with that. And it's like, okay, well, either way, I expect if my neighbor's house catches on fire, someone will put it out and save their kids from the burning building. Not this, you know, we don't want to have a workers' comp claim, so you can hold a firefighter at gunpoint and say you cannot go into that building. Your job is to only put the building out, not to save any lives. Like, well, screw you. You know what I mean? Right. You're not going to hold me at gunpoint because I'm going to go in there and save my neighbor's kids. I'll save my kids because I know my neighbors will do the same for me. Right. If I'm not around or whatever. You know what I mean? When tragedy strikes, I want people there, regardless if they're volunteers. So that's something I expect, but I'm not like, it's not like a requirement. Should it be paid? Should it not be paid? Like, I'm still up in the air on, you know, the best way to do it. I think when you do get people to volunteer for something they really like, they're more passionate about it. Right. But then again, you can't be doing the things you're passionate about most in life for free all the time because you can't support your family on that. How are you going to eat if all you're doing is fighting fires and no one's paying you?
Voluntarily.
Right? Yeah.
I don't think there is a best way. Right. You know, I mean, to be honest, right? Because, like you said, you know, you're on the fence about it. There is. I mean, personally, I don't think there is like a best way to do it. Right. Right. Because you can argue both sides on that, and I don't think anyone will ever really come to a consensus on that. I don't think it's possible.
Right. Well, so that was one of them. The other one was law enforcement. You know, I mean, that's obviously always been a paid gig, right? Because you can't just have this, volunteer vigilante group of people just like, you know what I mean? Like, neighborhood watch is great as like a secondary, like eyes and ears on the ground. Right. But if those guys started carrying guns and nightsticks and started beating up people, you know what I mean? You'd have a lot of Trayvon Martin type incidents just out there. Right. So like the police department, I love those guys too because I want the government to protect my family and myself from crackheads breaking in the middle of the night, stealing my shit, killing my kids, killing me, whatever. The law-abiding citizen is a perfect example of, you know what I mean? Like, I want cops to protect my family from that. The third thing that I expect of my government is roads for commerce and travel and things like that. So like nice level roads. They don't have to be perfect and pristine. They don't have to be made of gold. Every road doesn't have to be built like the Autobahn. But you know what I mean? Decently maintained roads. Police department, fire department. Those are the three different categories that I expect of my government. Right. Anything other than that, like, I don't care. Like the SEC, we don't need to have, like, the stock market. That's great. If people want to be gambling and betting on what by trading ownership of companies,
Walmart's gonna.
That's just legalized gambling to me. The government shouldn't have any regulation in that. Oh, people get screwed when they go in there. Well, they shouldn't be playing in there. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
it's their own money. Like, let them.
Yeah, you want to go climb down the inside of a
play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That's what it is.
Yeah, you want to be one of those guys that likes climbing down the inside of an inactive volcano. Like, Okay, great. Oh, well, we have a law that says you can't do that. Well, that idiot wants to do it, and if
So
he
let
dies,
him do it.
let him do it and die. Like
Right.
seatbelts and smoking in restaurants. If I want to open a diner that allows a smoking section, non-smoking section, which is completely like we allow smoking in here, like you don't want to expose your children to smoking.
Don't eat there.
Don't eat there, right? Don't take your kids to my freaking diner of smoking. I don't smoke, but I use smoking as a great example because you're not going to stop people from doing the things they do.
Right.
You're not going to do it. You're not going to curb bad behavior. So stop regulating this and regulating that. And then certain things like there's a gray area that the government has kind of adapted into, like the health department. There's a lot of crap that they do that I just think is just irrehensible. Like what are you even doing? Like, you can't come to my house and tell me that one of my neighbors saw a deer mice come in. Like every house in this area, you know what I mean? Like I haven't had that happen in my house, but every property I've ever been down on by the dikes, gets rats and mice and things like that. Well, a couple times a year you put out some traps, they're gone. Right. And it happens in the spring, it happens in the fall. It's like a circular cycle. It's usually near bodies of water, but the health department will condemn houses for that. Like, listen, if you find 1 or 2 mice, you're going to condemn a house? Like, that's ridiculous. Just because you're trying to stop that one person who's a hoarder, doesn't leave their house, from, building up a can selection or, packaged goods that now has a hive of mice that's, you know what I mean? Like, listen, let's talk about this. But you want to regulate restaurants so that they're not poisoning people, like Typhoid Mary, right? Like, I get that. You want to spread education, you want to do this, you want to do that. Like, that makes sense to me. I'm all for that. I'm just going to move this out of the sunlight. Yeah. I'm going to drop a curtain. And I get some of that to a certain degree, but most food poisoning cases, like 1 in every 2 million is from a restaurant, and like all the rest of them are from your own house,
right? Because
you're not taught this shit at home.
Well, and that's another thing that I was talking to a friend about. They said, why are restaurants held to such a standard,
right,
when you go to your own house and you do things that?
Yeah, right. Like you can leave. I love it. If I buy a really shitty steak, right, and no sign of tender, I'll beat the hell out of it, and then I'll let it sit on my counter for like 8 hours. Right. The health department, if they did that at a restaurant, you know what they do? They do whatever the equivalent of shooting a person is in health law. Like, you can't do that, but I'll do that at my house because it's my freaking house, and that's how I like it, and it's delicious. And you kill all the bacteria, and the bacteria breaks down the muscle, and it's delicious.
I mean, and I understand why.
Right.
And obviously, like, I wouldn't want to go to a restaurant and have that.
Right, but like, the bare minimum is like 100 times over what like unsanitary is.
Right.
Unsanitary, sanitary, and then like 100 times that. Like where restaurants should be, most people's houses
are like there.
Right on that line, and you know what I mean. Like, I don't know. And then I'm trying to think. There was another perfect example. Derailed. Steak.
Temperatures. How are you going to hold? How are you going to hold? Like, restaurants are.
That's what I was going to say. The water department.
Okay.
The water department. The standards that we're held to at the water department, like sanitary or unsanitary, sanitary, like big thick line. And then like third world countries are right on that line, right?
Right.
Most American cities, New York cities. Like we are not New York City, New York cities and townships and New York standards. Like there's like 1,000 processes in between here to further sterilize. Like, if you add any more sterilization methods, you're literally drinking bleach. You know what I mean? Like, so we're sterilizing our water so much, we're just drinking sterilizer.
I don't drink city water.
But it's one of those things, like our water's fine where it is now, and even if they took out half the measures in it, we're still above most American cities. And then if you took out even half of that, we're still not even close
to third world
countries.
Right.
And people are like, this little thing, one of our fail-safes failed for this extra UV light. We sent them through 1,000 UV lights as they go through leaving the facility, and what number 99 went, or number 999 went out, but it got number 1,000. You know what I mean? We had one light go out, and it's like, we put you under a boiled water advisory. So now they're advising everybody in a certain quadrant to boil their water, and it's like, you kidding me? This is ridiculous.
Right. I was up at school in Fredonia when they had a water main break.
And I can see that because it goes through the ground, but most people drink out of well water.
Yeah, right. But I mean, this stuff is coming out brown.
Yeah, but that's a little bit of dirt and iron, because everyone goes, oh, there's rust in your water. Like, yeah, that's iron.
Yeah.
I grew up in Connecticut where we all drank well water.
Right.
There was no filtration system. You know, you would test your well water in case it had some kind of like, you know what I mean, like chromium or something.
Sure.
Right? Like, and that's important, but you know what I mean? Because you don't want your kids having 3 eyes and looking like frogs from the show Doug in the swamp, you know?
Like the fish from Simpsons.
Yeah. This fish, yeah, exactly. Mr. Burns' fish.
Right.
Like, but people just don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, they just have this big, like, it's just like, oh, it's got to be this, it's got to be that. It's like, no, listen. Like,
it's kind of like a hive mind. The government tells me that we're supposed to do this, so that's what I listen to, and that's what it is. That's what I believe. I believe it's. A lot of people think, well, this is what they're telling me, so it must be true.
Right.
And it's like, well, is it?
No, it's not at all.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
But that's how everything's spinning nowadays. Like, listen, I'm being attacked left and right. So, most recently, I want to say it was like 3 months ago.
Sure.
I met my competitor, like, in person. Like, I'd seen who he was. He walks by my house. I always tried to wave. He'd just ignore me. Like, I can see him glancing out of the corner. You can see that kind of stuff. And I introduced myself after a council meeting. And, you know, it's like, hey, it's nice to meet you. And, oh, you pay attention to me on Facebook because you asked about my soon-to-be 1-year-old. Tomorrow's his birthday. He'll be 1 year old tomorrow.
There you go.
But like, he had all these health problems. He's like, I hope your son's doing well. And it was like, we were very cordial. And you know what I mean? Like, sure, I made a couple jokes prior to that, but he was kind of bashing me as well. And I was very cordial. I was like, it was nice to meet you. And then we kind of had a cordial, like, exchange on the internet. And then, like, within a month, he was just smear campaigning. That's what it was. It was just all smear campaigning. And like, this has been burning my gears recently because like it's all just misinformation. It's all like the wage raises. Like, I brought up like 9 things that we should review that haven't been touched in anything over a decade. Certain fee structures, just general maintenance. There's nothing in our city law that says you're supposed to go back to a lot of these things.
Right.
Unless they're pushback.
They just sit dormant.
Uh-huh.
Nobody looks at them.
Well, I mean, like, employee wages usually get brought up because the unions bring them up.
Sure.
Or the employees. You know what I mean? Like, that's why they get brought up for review and pay increases and, you know what I mean, negotiation and all that.
Because it's something that's always on people's minds.
Right. How much am I getting? I haven't got a raise one. Like, this is ridiculous. Or, we don't have a raise schedule. Or, you know what I mean? Whatever it is. Sure. And then, like, I just said, hey, no one's touched this in 25 years. Do you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. 4 of 5 aldermen had conversations. Because when I first got in office, I was like, dude, we're making $3,500 a year. Why don't we just do it for free? You know what I mean? And then like people, like, why don't we get rid of it? And the other 4 were like, no, you don't get rid of it, because then what happens is you get all these passionate yahoos that might not be qualified. At least the higher pay range, you get people that are slightly less passionate but more intelligent.
Sure.
Like, you can, and another reason why I brought it up, because I also brought up the mayor's salary, because I supported the last mayor, as you know what I mean, the current mayor, because when he ran for city alderman, or when he ran for mayor, he said that he was going to, that was going to be his final year, and he was going to be pushing for a charter review and doing a study on the city manager position,
right,
to replace the mayor and make the mayor a figurehead, so it's an at-large councilman,
right,
and we'd drop down one ward, we would reconsolidate. And like, I thought that was a great idea, especially for a small community like ours. That's a perfect example of what you do. Like, at the county, we have that because our county population is so small. You don't have 3 branches of government. You don't need 3 branches because our population is too small.
And I know some people would like to claim that you need a county executive, but
like, listen, the United States has such a huge population, like, that you need that 3rd branch of government for the checks and balances.
Yeah, absolutely.
But because when you have a smaller population,
there's no need for it.
Exactly.
Right.
You treat it like a small business. You have a board of directors. You have a CEO that does what the board of directors does or tells them to do, and that's it. Like, you know what I mean. And then you have your justices in your court system.
Sure.
Most of the courts in New York State are run by New York State. They're all funded through New York State. A lot of them, local ones are elected positions. You know what I mean. And they have criteria for them, but and then you work your way up the ranks, and that's the judicial system in New York is just, that's what it is. So like when you're coming down to the local government, there's just the two other branches you have to determine. So
Right.
like, you have legislative body, you have executive branch. Well, a lot of like our smaller community, we really just we don't need a mayor. Like, yeah, great, it's nostalgic, right? Like you think of like what's the name of like the Andy Griffith Show? Like, oh, our small little town. Was it Mayberry? Whatever. Like you just think of these like old school, like
Right.
just there's the mayor, there's the town square, like this is, you know what I mean? That's the windmill on the edge of town. Like these are like the pictures you paint, and that's what people like to get hung up on. It's like no, but this is how things are done now. And it makes more sense.
Well, it's like how the king and queen are just
Figureheads,
now.
right? You have a legislative body. They're not even the executive.
No, it's a figurehead. It's a celebrity.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. But yeah, no, you take that idea and you take that ideology, and so he was running on that, and then all of a sudden I was like, you told us you weren't going to run. Now all of a sudden you're not putting any effort into this and blah blah blah. It's like, oh, no, I'm probably going to run. My family told me, and I checked into this, and a lot of the people are saying that this isn't the way to go. It's like that's not a charter review. A charter review is a group of people that study this. You haven't even started that, and you're telling me that you spoke to certain people. Who did you speak to? Like you sitting in a closet talking to yourself? Like what are you like? Oh, you're just talking to yourself, and you know what I mean? Like all the voices in your head.
Right.
Like no, but so I brought it up as a discussionary item, as a reminder,
Right.
because all right, if we're going to keep the mayor position, then we better get somebody who is intelligent. Not saying that the current mayor isn't intelligent, but we're always getting retired people that don't need the income. The problem is that you're not going to get an intelligent person that doesn't need the income. Like, who's going to quit their job making $100,000 a year at
To take
Cutco
40,000.
to take a $50,000 job?
$50,000.
$50,000 a year job. It's a 50% pay cut. Altruism only goes so far, right? So you have to kind of compensate it, and then what happens is you get better leadership. Or you go back to the original method, which was to hire the city manager. Obviously, that person is getting a higher salary, but the mayor's position drops down, so some of the salary gets offset by that. But you're actually getting somebody who's qualified for the position.
So then the question is, would the mayor's salary just be the same salary as an alderman?
It would be, yeah.
Right,
Yeah, that would be. It would a little bit more. It's kind of like it would be like the council president's salary.
Sure. Okay.
John makes like $500 a year,
Okay.
extra being the council president.
So like 4K, or around there.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the mayor would be an at-large councilman, and he would automatically be the council president
Gotcha.
because he's the at-large councilman. He's elected by the entire city to be the president of the common council.
Gotcha.
So the suggestion was, let's go by inflation 25 years back, and it came out to like $92,000, and I said, let's just call it 80, and just throw it out there as an example. And it was a reminder to Bill, and everyone's like, Kevin's going to run for mayor because get this closer to you. Kevin's going to run for mayor because he's trying to raise the salary.
Yeah, I remember all that.
And it was like, no, I'm not going to run for mayor because I'm trying to raise the salary. I'm trying to get intelligent people that I know work at Dresser Rain and Cutco and stuff like that would actually be very good at their jobs, and they either might be willing to take a 20%
Then
salary,
a 50%.
then a 50%, right? Because and then people were like, well, why do you need the money? Like, well, because you have a $100,000 a year job, and you bought a house that's this much money. You have a mortgage to pay. You have a wife and kids. You have a wife and kids that are going to private school, or maybe you had the extra money because you have a good salary, and you let the descendant to Archbishop Walsh, and the tuition there is this much money, and you have a lifestyle that you have to support, and you're already in that. So now all of a sudden you want to stop, be altruistic, help your local community where your kids go to school and are raised and things like that, and you want to help them out, but you can't do it for a 50% salary decrease. You can do it for 4 years. You can do it for a 20% salary decrease, but not 50. And so that was the thought process on it, and they threw every political backhand in the world at me. Now, the alderman salary was like a slight adjustment. It was like, instead of $3,500, it was going to be like, we make $5,000, because it ended up coming out like $9,200. It was very similar. It was like $8,600. It was something like that. It was like, all right, nobody wants a $5,000 increase, right? Like, it was just this is what it's going to be. But the mayor knew what it was. He knew that was what that was. And the other councilmen, like, there was 3 of them that don't need the money. And then the other one's like, so like, oh, this is Christmas money for us. And it's like, the other one's like, I put in 20 hours a week as an alderman. it's 80 hours a month being an alderman. It's like, listen, I don't need the pay increase, but in order for it to, because every year, if you're not increasing it by inflation, it's decreasing by inflation.
Right.
So every year, it's almost like, you know what I mean? Like, eventually you'll be able to buy like, one fancy dinner with your $3,500. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. You have to save up all year that amount, and it's like, yeah, I can, go out on my anniversary. Like, that's all. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's getting, and then it's like, so now all you get is those passionate people that, you know what I mean? Maybe don't have a job. You know what I mean? There's been a few candidates that just don't have a job. They're not retired. They just, like they collect their checks, and it's, you know what I mean? Like that. So they're doing it because they're passionate, and not because they're the best candidate for the job, but they think it's the right thing to do. Right. And they're not the best candidate for the job. And like, really, because you want to be able to select the most amount of people. So like this way, those people can still throw in their hat if it's $10,000 a year. You know what I mean? Right. And everyone's throwing that in my face. It was just a discussion item. It wasn't like Kevin was trying to make it get rich. Right. But like, so my original comment was that like the smear campaign started there, like bringing up something that was a year and a half old. There was just a discussion item, and nothing came of it. And it was just like the little lies, like, oh, Kevin gets a salary. Kevin got a salary increase. I'll decline it. Kevin never got a salary increase. I brought it up as a discussion item. Kevin bankrupted the African American Center for Cultural Development. I sure didn't do that. Kevin screwed over the library. Well, I screwed over the library. I changed the direction. They had to rearrange their parking a little bit, and I've got nothing but compliments. Except for people on Facebook, the outsiders that never go to the library. They know how to read just enough to read their Facebook comments. I've seen some of them. Some of them are so bad that I don't think they can understand entirely, because they take it and they misconstrue it, and then they attack from a completely left-handed.
Well, and that was my thing with it is especially some of the people that work at Stroman's. I'm sure they like it a lot better.
They do. They love it.
That's what I'm saying. Because imagine trying to have to go all the way around. Now they can just come down State Street and turn right here and park.
Yeah,
it's easier.
Yeah, we don't want to piss off. We don't need to be pissing off local businesses, because we don't have that many left. The big businesses that employ got 70 people at least. So, that doesn't. I think that's just the local. I think that's just those guys across the street. That doesn't include any of the truck drivers on the road, the sales reps, the distributors But. So that was where it started, and I've been cordial since that day. So continuing to stay cordial. And then, just the other day, it was like, this individual comes out and says, well, Kevin laughs at me, he mocks me. At every turn, last time I addressed the council about this 2 years ago, about broadband internet, Kevin made fun of me and said I wanted to pay for his internet. I said, I didn't even make a comment on that 2 years ago. Secondly, up until 8 months ago, he never crossed through the threshold of the municipal building into the council chambers unless he had a traffic ticket. Not during council time, because he's never addressed the council in the past. So, that was one of those things. It was just all these little lies and things, and then last night was the coup de grace that just set me over the edge. And I'm trying to be the bigger person, because I still have yet to see anything bad. One of those only small businesses or only closed businesses support open the door.
I see that.
Yeah. I love that, because I got permission from the two business owners. The one is selling the building to another local business owner who's about to revamp it. And that building is the custom shoe repairs. I've been instrumental working on that building since the last 2 years. We've been getting it gut and frame. You know what I mean? We've put a lot of effort into making that building a fresh shell in which you have a fresh canvas to put whatever you want there. And then recently, we've been working on Choice Video on the construction.
Right.
So we've got that, and we've been under deadline. Literally, we started that October 1, September 30th. We got in there and put a new roof on the building.
Out of Choice.
Yeah, that was it. But the comment on there was, it's in worse shape than the Manny-Hanny building. None of these people have ever been inside of any of these buildings uptown. I want to Lewis Blackett right now. When I when somebody asked what was going on at my church, we started doing the roof. They were like, "Oh, somebody piped up on Facebook," and I remember her name, but I'm not going to say it. She said, "Oh, the foundation on that building is completely collapsed. That building should be torn down."
Have you been inside it?
No, none of these people. I've never been inside these buildings.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
The foundation was good. What happened was they resupported it like 20 years ago, and what happened is they jacked up the foundation in the center, put center support pylons. So what happened was it took the weight off the outside, so that any of the spots that the bricks didn't have weight on, the mortar that had loosened up from them, instead of just re-tuck pointing them, they just shifted. So we slid a lot of them back and re-tuck pointed them.
Right.
Now the mortar's back in place. The weight is off those corners because it's solidly framed underneath. That it's just the weight has shifted. It's a 200-year-old building. So what happened was we re-tuck pointed it right before those photos were taken, and it was like the building's falling down.
Yeah, you should have said, well, if you know how the foundation's running, then you should be arrested for trespassing. Because,
but this one is being worse than the Manny-Hanny building. First off, I don't believe there's any foundation or structural issues with the Manny-Hanny building. It's literally a roof issue and an asbestos.
Asbestos was the one everyone always hears about.
That's the big one. So it's like moisture content from the roof leaking.
Right.
But the building all these buildings uptown are solid. Like they're block, and then they've got usually they're 1 foot on center, 2x12s, rough cut. So 2x12 now is sanded down to like instead of 2 it's 1.5 inches, and instead of 12 it's like 11 1/4. These are rough cut, which means they're actually 2x12, and they span the entire. They're pocketed into the entire portion, and instead of being 2 foot on center, which used to be the old way of doing things, or nowadays modern construction 16 inches on center, they're 1 foot. There's less than 12 inches in the gap. These buildings are solid. I wouldn't be surprised if they could stand after earthquakes and
right.
Maybe
serious natural disaster.
Yes, right. Nuclear attack, maybe. You know what I mean?
Well, there's a nuclear bunker in the Manny-Hanny building.
Yeah, but these buildings are all solid. So what happens is even if a roof leak is going on, these boards are so thick. There's so much there. It took
damn lot.
It took a lot to knock down to near demolish the JoJo's building, and that's being saved. These buildings are nowhere near where that one was, and these ones are, you know what I mean?
Right.
They're in the basket. They're in the pocket. So we started that October 1st-ish. We got the brand new roof on there. Done. No leaks. Tied into a storm sewer. This old building actually had its own storm sewer.
So that's just over a week. You said October 1st?
Yeah. Sorry. We started the inside October 1st.
Gotcha.
So where we started October 15th, we started the whole project. So within 2 weeks, we had the roof on.
September 15th?
September 15th, yeah.
I was going to say, today's the 10th.
Dude, September 15th, we started that project. We finished about October 1st.
Gotcha. Yeah.
The 28th of October. It was about 2 weeks we were done with that roof. And now we're starting on the first floor. We've hauled all the junk out. We've got everything done. And we got all that junk hauled out like 2 years ago. We're just waiting on, you know what I mean?
The right time to do it.
The go ahead and finding the tenant. And so, you know what I mean? When you custom build something to suit, a tenant.
And then all of a sudden find out that's not how they want it.
Right, yeah, right. That's ridiculous, yeah. So you wait to see what they want or what roughly the specs, and then you get it all prepped. And we're going to be laying the flooring this weekend. The first floor actually has its first coat of paint tomorrow. It'll be entirely painted tomorrow, except for a couple back storage rooms in the bathroom. But it's that's going to be beat city music from Allegheny.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful.
A pretty local business, yeah.
Yeah, it's down to, I'm sorry that Allegheny has to lose a local business, but, you know what I mean? Haha, we got one, you know what I mean?
And I mean, after Don's Music Shop left, and then Wright's Music Shed
moved in? Yeah, they're out now.
Wright's Music Shed moved in right next door, and then they moved out, I think, within a year. They're gone.
Well, they bought Don's Music Shop.
Yeah, but it was so here was Don's Music Shop, Wright's was right here.
Oh.
It was the shop literally right to the left.
Okay.
And then Wright's moved in, and then they were out.
Oh yeah.
So
and they moved back to Bradford. Yeah, he bought the local music expanded.
They had one in Bradford. They had one in Olean. I want to say.
I think he sold it to somebody.
Did they really? Oh, yeah. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Isaac Spain used to tell me about it.
Yeah.
He does a lot of work with them because they got the school contract, so they get the instruments and he repairs them.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean we want to talk about being a ground floor, you know what I mean? Obviously this is my contracting day-to-day job, but you know what the most impressive part about it is? I'm revitalizing uptown buildings, making them not fall down. So like, yeah, I get paid for it because it's my job, but it's also like a great feeling that I get, a passionate like. That's why I do quality work, because I want to make sure that these things aren't going to fall down in 20 years. You know what I mean? You can go in and give stuff lipstick and it falls down at the same rate that it was going to fall down at.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then also that I'm instrumental in helping establish putting these buildings, these things into the first floor of, downtown business. We're about to put another downtown business downtown. Right. Like we helped gut, sandblast, and prep the Union Whiskey building. Right. For the owner there. We got that building ready to go. I mean, obviously it wasn't my money that was being put into it, but I mean, like I was instrumental in keeping the cost down and making it, you got to make things manageable, because if you just go out there and put things out to bid, it's just like the city. If you put things out to bid, sometimes it just comes in really high, and you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying I work super cheap, but you know what I mean? Like, cheaper, because you know what I mean. Like, I understand that you're trying to make something happen, and it's not going to happen,
especially with the local
at certain going rates, right?
You're starting out, you're not going to have all that money or all that, all the resources.
And by working with everybody along the way, you're really making stuff happen.
Yeah.
So now we've got Union Whiskey across the street. We've got Choice Videos prepped, and it's about to get sold to the new owner, where they're gonna be doing, I don't know what they're doing yet with it, but I know that they're about to invest a lot of money into that building. The Choice Video will be open, and then after they move in, my next project is to work on the front of the building to get the block done and make it look very handsome.
Good.
Maybe even work on the side of the building, right alongside that big vacant parking lot.
Yeah, where
tuck the point
sign
the brick.
is, it says only the Choice sits.
Tuck point the brick and stuff like that. Make it, make it nice and, longevity of the building. Then we'll do the back half eventually. The next step is to go to the second floor and get that prepared. They want to have, I think they're doing a recording studio, but I know for sure they're doing practice rooms and music lesson rooms.
Good, nice.
And maybe an office or two. But I mean, that used to be the old Choice TV.
Yeah, Choice TV. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So there's like a doorway, like right to the left of the actual front of the building.
That's
stairs. Yeah.
Yep, and it takes you all the way up to the third floor as well. So I don't know. We don't have any plans for the third floor at this point. Obviously, it's it's going to need to be under construction. But I mean, like that's, and so I talked to the owner and the new tenant and said, hey, I'm putting a sign in this window, and
they said sure.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, only closed businesses. I talked to 3 people. They're like, wow, man, it's amazing how. I talked to a friend of mine today. He's like, it's amazing how people on Facebook will spin stuff, because 2 different people see 2 different things. This person sees only closed businesses support Alderman Doherty, and the way they saw it was because they keep reading that there's something going in there. They see only, small businesses support Alderman Doherty.
Sure.
And new businesses support Alderman Doherty. Completely different take. Like, when Subway was burnt down, like they had a sign there, like, oh, only burnt down buildings. You know what I mean? No, they're rebuilding. It says they're rebuilding Killing Corp. Like, it's bananas, man. And all the lies people spin, and just.
I think that's just social media in general.
Oh, I know. It wears at me, and I'm actually being very cordial, because if you remember 2 years ago, Kevin, my first podcasts attacking like the old, the certain set of landlords.
I don't know if I ever saw that one.
No?
No, I don't think so.
I got criticized for using the R word.
Gotcha.
Referring to people as bed bugs and fleas. Like, I'll still say that stuff, because that's how I was raised. You know what I mean? Like, this was the era I was growing up in. You know what I mean? Like, to my great grandfather's deathbed, he would never call a Brazil nut a Brazil nut. You know what I mean? Like,
and that goes back to censoring yourself.
Right.
Like, are you willing to sacrifice?
Right, but like, at the same time, I got way more support off of doing that original video and being myself, and also people like the entertainment too. So
I'm sure. Yeah.
That's why a lot of people like watching the news nowadays, because they like to see, Donald Trump just like lose his cool and just be uncensored and just go bananas and like, what did he call somebody? He called somebody a loser the other day. He was like, "You're a low life loser." Like, that's pretty funny. You don't see that out of a politician, but no, that was another thing. Is like, I always like being myself. I love being who I am. I'm not going to change for anybody.
Right.
And I keep watching. It's political season. I keep watching other people that I know change, especially on the council. Like, people just left and right. It's just like, I'm only doing. You can tell they're only doing certain things because it gets them votes. And it's like, it's not. You don't even care about that.
It's been
pushing
interesting.
Smoking cigarettes in the park is a no-no. It's going to win you 10 votes. And And I'm pretty sure like 5 years ago you would have been smoking cigarettes.
Right.
Like,
yeah, it's been interesting, you know, as vice chairman of the Libertarian Party, seeing who kind of comes out of the woodwork to try to like talk to us and be like, hey. It's like,
hey, and then you see what they're up to.
Right.
What's your game?
And what they're saying to us and their, I don't know, just their mannerisms.
Yeah.
When they're speaking to us and, you know, what they're saying, but you can almost get, based on body language, how they are actually feeling.
Right. Yeah.
And then
up and to the left.
Right. And then you wait 2 days later, and then they're saying completely opposite things of what they were telling you.
Right.
Or like they keep it vague, but like very vague on purpose.
Right, because then when you start opening it up, you find out that the platform's completely different.
Or, you know, it's like, well, I feel this way, and it's like, okay, well, we might give you the endorsement if you go on public record saying that you feel this way. And they go, no, I don't want to say that until after I get the endorsement. It's like, well, if you feel that way,
then you'll do it.
Wouldn't you just say that you feel that way?
Yeah, right.
Because if you hold that firm belief, and you're serious about holding a belief like that, then you should be open about it. Yeah, absolutely, you should be open about it. So why would you wait until you get an endorsement to say something that you feel strongly about?
Right, exactly. No, and
that's shady as hell.
It's like the pot smoking thing. Everybody was going bananas over it. I was like, listen, like, I don't even smoke that often. I stand up for all the little people that do. Like, 80% of the people that I know in this city smoke pot, and it's like, and it's not because they're card carrying members of the medical marijuana companies. You know what I mean? Like, they smoke pot because that's just their beer. That's their beer. I'm a beer drinker. I get it. I understand it. You know what I mean? Like, everybody needs a little bit of, like, you know, detox. You know, like, I just long day. Also, it's sober October, so this is what you get out of Kevin. But I've also been very productive this month. Like, been waking up early. You know what I mean? Drinking lots of water.
Right.
Just keeping at busting the grindstone at work. I've been getting so much more stuff done. Taking up bow hunting.
Yep, you told me about that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Excited. Gang some deer. Some venison.
That's good. Good.
And it makes people mad though. They'll see that and they'll be like, "Oh, you killed a little baby." You know? Like, yeah, but you know, your tofu field that you want your tofu, like that, you kill like 2,000 animals per acre, grinding them up as they till the soil and deforest the land to make it. You know, or how about the fact that the deer are starving to death because we have so many? That's actually where you get the, what do they call them? The little spotted deer. They're pileated. Pileated deer, something like that. They get the little snowballs.
I know what you're talking about, but I'm not sure what that.
It's because of too much inbreed in the deer population. Because the deer are so close, like it's growing too far out. They just constantly get the same genetics over and over again, and it's just an abnormality. And they pieball, something like that. It's got the word ball in it. But anyways, those deer, it's a sign that you have way too much of a population in one area, and eventually they're going to deforest and you know what I mean? They're going to start eliminating resources for other animals like squirrel and chipmunk and stuff like that. Because when humans come into an area, they eliminated. Like, guess what? We put up a bunch of farms here way back in the day. Guess what our risks were? Wolves, coyotes, mountain lions. You know, we have a small coyote population. We don't have any wolves.
A small bobcat population up in the hills.
But yeah,
very small.
Very small. Yeah, we smoked most of them. Yeah, and we killed all the wolves, and guess what? Now all the deer run rampant because there's no natural predators. The only natural predator is the hunter, unless people are hunting every year. And it's one of those things. Like, unless you keep those populations in check, you're gonna have more car accidents because those deer are gonna jump out. You know what I mean? Because they're looking for food and they're eating it all. So literally, you have to keep their population checked so that there's sustainable resources for them to keep going, as well as not start traveling further for food, not crossing the highways and things like that, where we now have to spend thousands of hundreds of millions of dollars in deer fencing. And when we could just convince our youth that, like, hey, listen, this is a great time to get back to nature and go hunting and you use every part of the animal. Hey, you don't need a rug. You know, why throw out the pelt? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You can tan it. You can do it yourself. You know, it
helps the economy out too.
Yeah. So I mean, it's yeah, because you eliminate scarcity. There's no reason to be wasting resources, and we've got them. Like I was just talking to some buddies today. So you get a deer might hang 150, 200 pounds by the time you got it, everything like that. Yeah. And you take the bones out. And shit, I got deer bones. I'm making soup stock, man. Like, I make stock out of everything. Like,
right.
So I mean,
you got 50 pounds of hanging meat. You know what I mean? Like that's, and then if you process it yourself, you're saving more. You may get closer to like 70 pounds. So you get 70 pounds of meat. When the last time you had 70 pounds of meat?
Never.
No, right. Like my dad ordered a lamb from one local slaughterhouses. It was like 26 pounds that weighed in. It was a little on the light side, but 26 pounds. 26 pound lamb. Lamb's expensive, but it was like $230 some odd for that lamb. I was like, all right, well that makes sense. It's lamb, but like I'm thinking, shit, okay, 3 times that amount, 2 to 3 times that amount out of a deer, and it was something that I got to go do a fun activity where I got to get back to nature and like got to get some exercise, nature walk, and some self. You know, because when you're so alone with your own thoughts, like it's not a good idea to do it all the time. Because otherwise,
some self-evaluation is good though.
Yeah, self-evaluation lets your mind kind of crock this stuff and just think about stuff. You get to just one-on-one, you and the world, you and the wilderness, and I don't know, it's good self-help stuff. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, got anything you want? We originally were going to talk about like Disney and baths. Remember?
Were we?
I don't know. Like 2 years ago, we were going to come up.
What do you want to talk about? Like, I don't even remember.
I want to talk about like fair use and copyrights.
Right.
And, right. Like was it the Act? What are those people that they're HASVAC?
ASCAP and BMI?
Yeah, ASCAP. The people that they protect all the musicians and their copyrights, but then it gets ridiculous because like if your ringtone goes off, like you could hear like just the beginning, just the first note of AC/DC.
Does that count as a public?
Oh, it's a
performance. That's the question, right?
Right. Well, that's what they're saying on YouTube. They'll say it's copyright for you were just blatantly blaring a song. It was like, no, it's not my fault that your phone rang.
Right.
And like, I don't think anybody listens to my podcast to hear that first note of AC/DC.
But YouTube has like an automatic detection system now.
Yeah.
I think, or something similar. Where
oh my God, yeah, they're like Skynet. YouTube's gonna be Skynet.
It already is.
Yeah.
So.
Oh. Cool. Oh, it is. Well, we've been doing this for about an hour, right?
Yeah, I know. It's been like an hour. Didn't seem like it. To be honest.
Yeah, no. So, because we can talk forever. That's where this thing really kicks off. You need to go unlock the church from my buddy Ralph. He's got some sound equipment there. You talk to him about some future upcoming events. I was telling Palmer.
Yeah, actually, I'm seeing him tomorrow night. He's having a.
Never met him in person.
I haven't either, but he's having a meeting for Optinolian tomorrow.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, I'm interested in going, so I think I might stop by.
Okay.
So he was like, yeah, it'd be good to meet you in person finally. I was like, yeah, I agree. So.
Where is that?
It's at Tim Hortons right in Union.
Okay.
6:37. I'm not sure.
Text me when you find out.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
I'd like to make it. It's one of those things. I get the farmers market real early, and I work all day long, so I'm trying to get the Fridays. I'm bushed on Fridays, so it's like, I don't want to see my kids. That's a big thing. So, but I wouldn't mind making that because I support their initiatives and stuff like that.
Right.
I was telling him the other day that we got the church that's going to be opening with Della's going to be operating out of there, but we've got to be able to cover the overhead, and how do churches cover overhead? They hold events, hold events and performances and things like that, bake sales. Not that we're going to have much bake sailing going on, but
well, you've got the farmers market right across the street.
Right. Yeah. It's very difficult for a bake sale, but you know what I mean. Letting different organizations hold meetings there, or that might be a way to help
offset the cost.
Right? Because especially with winter coming up, man, that place is not going to be cheap to eat.
Yeah.
No. But I want to get that place rolling, and we're very close to getting it done. I was hoping to get some town hall meetings in there, maybe some live debates.
That'd be good. Yeah.
We're coming close on that deadline. I don't think we're going to have anybody. Yeah. I need people to push me more because I'm not being pushed enough, I guess. I don't have enough free time in the day.
I don't either. And some people tell me, oh, you're not doing enough for this and you're not doing enough for that. It's like, hey.
I'm spread so thin, it's like, but I want to get that up and running, and it'll probably be like November by the time I finish, and it's going to be after the election, but at least we'll be ready for next time. We'll be able to have discussions and forums and things like that. Della's over there today. I gave her copy of the key because she's not been feeling well.
Okay.
So
I hope she feels better soon.
Yeah, she's been just to different doctor's appointments and stuff, so she hasn't been around. I've been sitting on this key in my van for the last 2 weeks, so finally caught up with her, and she's like, "Hey, I got all the equipment. I want to go clean that bathroom." I mean, it's a dirty bathroom. You know what I mean? Like it's just,
Well, building's been set.
yeah. So it's got red stains in it because every year I make sure it's got antifreeze in the crock so it doesn't freeze. And, you know. But yeah, she's gonna go clean that. And we gotta finish. I gotta get one more egress door done, screw up some smoke detectors, one carbon monoxide detector, and I gotta fix the drop down ceiling. Then I got a buddy of mine who's gonna be helping finish that roof off, which we don't need to open because the roof is sealed. It's just like open up a section, make some repairs, close it up, stuff like that. And
do what you gotta do.
Yeah, bear with me 1 second. Hey, honey. Of course, honey. All right, I gotta go let Ralph into the church around 5:30, and I've got a meeting tonight at 7, but it probably won't take me long because it's over October. Republican committee meeting. So, but I'll be home there shortly. All right, love you. Bye. I don't mind taking calls on the podcast. Oh, I've named any device that I have.
Yeah.
Okay.
What does it say?
Spartan 117.
Nice.
Yeah. My van is Echo 419.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got this little Klein radio, and it's Bluetooth. So on the tag and on its Bluetooth
That's awesome.
ID, it's 343 Guilty Spark.
Nice.
So yeah,
That's
I've been going bananas with stuff. So like, my house is Halo. So like that's installation 001.
I still think the last good one was Reach.
Yeah, I want to get back and just like play the classics. And in November 4th, it was supposed to be October 7th. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to because I got to pay all the workers' comp bills, and I had to, you know what I mean. Like we had to do some income generating to get all that stuff covered, so that we're into the health permit renews this month, and I got to get that to them in 2 days. And it's like all these different things that are going on. I'm like, dude, I am not ready for a management agreement to start November or October 7th. Right. Let's do it November 4th. And he's opening the kitchen 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. Monday through Friday. Okay. And one night a week to start, he wants to do video game tournaments.
Nice.
You come down here and like he's big into going to Buffalo on Wednesdays.
Okay.
Going to like this arena over by the shore.
Game On. I think is the name of it.
He goes there. They do Mortal Kombat.
Smash Brothers.
Huge there. Yeah.
Huge Smash Brothers.
A lot of
community. You know, when I was into that in high school, I still really am into Smash Brothers, but we were trying to get a monthly going, but no venue to hold it.
I mean, it's not huge down here. I got one TV here. I mean, if
we can bring more.
Right. That's the thing. Is like if people are bringing TVs and it's like, you know what I mean, it'd be worth it. Then there's not a scene for that. And that was one of the things that he really liked. And I love that idea. When Dylan Reynolds did the one night, half the time the parents were coming and going, "You should do this every Friday."
Yeah.
Because they were giving their kids like $30 to $50, just dropping them off, and then like they were all dressed up fancy. Like a bunch of parents were just like, "Me and the hubby, we're going out. We're having a date night. We're gonna go home. We're gonna watch a movie, and then we're gonna come back and pick up the kids." And it was like parents needed it just as much as the kids wanted to go and goof off with their friends after school. And it was really cool. And Dylan got busy at work and screwed off and didn't do the next one. But I mean, like, I really like the idea, and it's an unchained market. If we had like different, like we have the chess club in town. Like I know Holden still runs that.
Does he still hold that? Really?
I believe he does.
Yeah, good.
Every time I see him, I always ask him about the chess club. So I mean, like he does the chess club. He's really cool about it. I mean, like I would love to have those guys down here.
Yeah.
Like I think that just if we had like a local, like and shit, I thought I recognized that symbol on your lanyard.
Yeah, of
course.
Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
It's actually for the new game. I went to the midnight launch of it back in December, and they pulled my name 3 times. I got 2 lanyards and a sticker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
I like. Well, I grew up with video games.
Right.
You know,
That's how I was. Yeah.
My family grew up with hunting. I grew up with video games. I grew up with The Legend of Zelda.
Right.
So actually, that was like a perfect jump for me to get right into like bow hunting, right? Like I was telling the missus, I was like, I got a little Christmas gift idea for you, and I showed her, and it was like it's a Link hoodie.
Oh, nice.
And it's like a legitimate one by like a real company.
Yeah, my brother has one.
Yeah.
It's actually got like the hood, but it actually
was it Master Blend or whatever, Math Blend.
I don't know, but it looks like the one from Wind Waker or like one of those ones.
Yeah,
it's got like it's the hood, but it's actually shaped like the actual hood.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's neat.
I also saw it for like 90. There was like that was $70,
right?
For like $100, they had they had like a trench coat. It goes over.
Oh, really?
Very similar.
Nice.
And it goes over top of your hoodie. So I'm like, dude, that'd be perfect for bow hunting. It's gonna be cold outside. I'm gonna wear that. And if I get too hot, I take the trench coat off. Like, and then my quiver, I got one of those old school, just like leather tube ones in the back,
nice.
and I got a recurve bow,
Nice.
so it looked very like Zelda-esque. And I'm like, dude, I'm such a loser.
I'm
such a freaking loser, just buying all this crap.
When Wolfenstein 2, the remake, or not the remake, but they're doing like another set of Wolfenstein games.
It's awesome. Wolfenstein 3D, like I remember that.
Exactly. But when that came out, I bought a replica of the jacket, the leather jacket that he
he
wears in that game. I was like, it looks so cool. I gotta have it.
Yeah, these actually that same company though. I saw I clicked on their site on Amazon, and they've got everything that they've got. Like they've got like Star Wars, like the Han Solo jacket.
Yeah.
They've got like the Poe jacket.
Yeah, my brother got a Poe jacket.
Yeah,
they were selling them at FYE.
Yeah,
like, I had to get it.
That shit's awesome. I grew up with video games, man. So that shit was just like GoldenEye. I grew up with GoldenEye, Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. Like those, like Ocarina of Time set. Like I was like it was like a coming of age novel. Like in my head, like this is like chivalry. You know, like fighting the bad guy, like defending the princess. You know what I mean? Like these were just different. Like it was like life lessons they were bestowing on me. And then Final Fantasy VII came out right after there to bring me into the adulthood.
That's one of my favorite games of all time. And they're remaking it.
They're remaking it in March.
January.
Okay.
Yeah,
it comes out for PlayStation.
Only PlayStation.
Yeah, I gotta buy a PlayStation.
So I'm pumped for it.
It sucks. Like I haven't been in a PlayStation since Final Fantasy X Part 1 came out.
Always been a PlayStation guy, but I had a 360. So I got a 360 instead of a PS3. And then I went back to PS4.
Yeah, I gotta give me a PlayStation.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
But yeah, we got PlayStation. Jeez, I got it from my phone. Buy it on Google Play Store. It's like $15.
What is that?
Final Fantasy VII.
Oh yeah.
You can buy the original on your phone.
I just got it on PlayStation 1.
Yeah,
we've got a copy. My brother has it. I play it.
Harvest Moon. I liked Harvest Moon.
Never got into it.
No, I got into that. I'm trying to think.
I was a Kingdom Hearts kid. Because that was like when I was growing up. That was like the game to play.
Yeah, it was like
it's like
Smash Brothers meets Mickey Mouse, isn't it?
It's Final Fantasy meets Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
You've got Cloud from Final Fantasy in it. Final Fantasy VII, he's in there. A lot of Final Fantasy.
But it's got like Donald Duck.
Yeah, Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, Goofy.
Okay.
It's literally like Final Fantasy, but like in all like the Disney movies. And I guess like like as a 5-year-old kid, like it's like. I
forget that, because when that was coming out, like Final Fantasy had just come out. If Final Fantasy had come out before I even found out about it, it was like the greatest hits when I bought it. And I want to say I bought it. God, I had to have been like 11, 12. I was like 12 years old.
Yeah,
I was getting up there. Like I was outside of I was almost a teenager when I bought that. God, and then get Grand Theft Autos. The Grand Theft Autos. Those were like you were already like subjected to adult theme stuff, and then you just Final Fantasy Grand Theft Auto 3 came out, and it just drove all the grandmothers nuts on on the news channels, and like, this is why Columbine's happening. Like I remember that shit. Like that didn't happen.
Like Columbine's happening because Marilyn Manson's making music.
Yeah,
that was a thing.
Yeah.
No, I never really played Grand Theft Auto. I remember I got my PlayStation 2, and it came with Grand Theft Auto 3. My mom like quick took that and like put it away. But I was like 5.
I can't remember why I bought it. I think the reason I got a PlayStation 2 because we were always Nintendo kids.
Right.
And I got a PlayStation 2, and then I evolved to the Xbox and started playing Halo.
Right. I had Super Nintendo was my first system. It was a hand-me-down. Playing like Super Mario Kart and like
Game Boy. The Game Boy.
Yeah.
The Game Boy was my first one, and then like the original, like the big freaking gray one,
right?
Like the VHS.
Tetris.
Yeah. With Tetris, Tetris and Link's Awakening.
Yep. They're remaking that. They just remade it.
And my cousins always had the cool video games. Like they had Super Nintendo and the NES and all that stuff. So when I went to visit them, like that's when I got to play them and talk about how cool they were. And then one Christmas, my sister got the NES and I got the Super Nintendo.
Nice.
And I got to play, Link to the Past. And
still one of the best games.
Super Mario Brothers. Those. It was just. We could go in for days.
Yeah, I gotta.
I gotta go let Ralph in, and June needs beer. All right, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, vote for Matt if you want to throw your vote away. No, just kidding.
I mean, I'm not going to say no.
No means yes. So, all right, guys. Talk to you next time.